Hello and welcome to the Canham Natatorium as the 8th-ranked Michigan Wolverines are about to host the 4th-ranked and undefeated UCLA Bruins. These two teams faced off last weekend in a nail-biter 5-4 final score where UCLA just edged out Michigan in the UCSB Invitational. So the Wolverines are now 4-2, UCLA 6-0. This is a premier water polo showdown, and Canham Natatorium is packed for this event. There are hundreds of fans in the stands. The Michigan Trooper is even in attendance, and we have a great audience. We have the alumni band, and wow, do they really echo here in the Canham Natatorium.
Yeah, it's a very intimate environment, a great place to catch any sort of aquatic event. And anytime you get a top 10 matchup in any sport, really, it's just usually a phenomenal atmosphere, phenomenal environment, and usually a great game. I think we've got a great one in store here watching both these teams all day today.
Yeah, UCLA has been very impressive today. They were able to defeat Marist about 3 hours ago, 18-8. We were here to watch that one. Very impressive looking UCLA squad. Meanwhile, Michigan in their one official game defeated Wagner 10-7. Wagner being ranked 20th in the country. Marist is ranked 24th. So Michigan defeated a slightly better opponent, but by a much slimmer margin. And then both teams played the Chinese national team in scrimmage games, so those didn't really count for anything. Michigan did drop their game to China. Meanwhile, UCLA cruised against China, won by by a wide margin. So I guess we've seen both teams in action today. What do you think is important going into this matchup?
Well, UCLA definitely looks the part as far as a top 10 team. Their offense has looked pretty deadly all day. They haven't seemed to be affected much by traveling from so far away from California here to Michigan, but I really expect Michigan to also match the intensity that UCLA has played with. I thought they've had some stretches of really good play. They've also had a couple of stretches of kind of slow play, playing down or at their competition's level. I think Michigan's a much better team than they've shown for most of the day here, and I expect that to come out here against UCLA.
Yeah, the Wolverines are looking to have saved their best for last here in the most important matchup they have this weekend. There are still 3 more games tomorrow. Another one against China, the Chinese women's national team, and then a couple others against Marist and Pacific, being the 2 other teams they have yet to play. It'll be interesting to see how the rest of this weekend unfolds. Unquestionably Michigan's largest game. UCLA is the all-time leader for most women's NCAA water polo championships, so really a blue blood program, as blue of a blue blood as you can get here in water polo. The only 3 teams ever to raise a banner in women's water polo being USC, Stanford, and UCLA, so it's a very California-centric sport. Those are the only 3 teams ever to win a championship. But Michigan has caused some trouble in the NCAA tournament before. In fact, just in 2016, Michigan lost another loss to UCLA in the 3rd place game. So this Michigan team has finished 4th before. They lost in the quarterfinals in 2017. Looking to get back, head coach Dr. Marcelo Leonardi, he is 23-1 in conference play. The CWPA conference is the conference that the Michigan Wolverines played in water polo. It's the only varsity sport where they're not in the Big Ten conference. But Dr. Marcelo Leonardi in his 4th season has had a lot of success since coming to Michigan. Michigan has yet to play a conference game this year, but you'd imagine they can punch their ticket to the tournament by winning their conference. But right now, they could maybe even possibly be in the running for an at-large bid with the upset against UCLA today. Really, they can help establish themselves as a powerhouse team in water polo. They clearly did well in their first tournament. They won 3 games against top 20 teams and dropped a pair to 5th-ranked Arizona State and dropped a game to, at the time, 3rd-ranked UCLA. The margin of loss, I suppose, in those games was 3 points in total. So they definitely have a lot to prove, but they are also a team that's shown already that they can compete with just about anyone. Right.
I'm sure they're very excited to get back out in the pool with UCLA, who they narrowly lost to, like you said. Anytime you get a chance at home to defend your home against a top-ranked opponent, you want that opportunity. Michigan definitely wants to avenge their loss out in California and defend Michigan.
And Canham Natatorium is going to be a difficult place to play. Folks at home heard the band playing just moments ago, and wow, were they loud. It really echoes in here. As he said, an intimate place to play. it's going to be uncomfortable probably for the UCLA Bruins. And the Michigan crowd really has brought it. We expect for it to get loud for the Wolverines. There are a few UCLA fans in attendance that is probably worth noting, but a lot of maize and blue out there. But UCLA has traveled pretty well for this event.
Yeah, I think a lot of the family members of the UCLA players were able to make it out to Michigan, which is good that they're able to support their children. But Michigan definitely has some students here, some alumni, and maybe a couple future Wolverines too. A lot of young kids in the stands.
Indeed, a lot of kids with Michigan flags. That appears to be the promotional item for today. Waving a lot of blue block M's with maize background flags. Even as we said, the Michigan trooper is in attendance, waving his pom-pom. They are now underway. The opening sprint has started. Michigan and UCLA fighting for that first possession, and it's going to be real close. And after basically a dead tie, UCLA ends up coming up with the fight for the ball, and they will get the first possession here to start the first quarter. Starting the game, UCLA has the ball at around mid-pool. They are trying to bring the ball in toward the 5-meter zone. So far, Michigan has played tight defense. No real opportunities to advance the ball for UCLA. They push the ball out to the wings. They've now entered the 5-meter zone, looking for a shot, still passing around the perimeter. And, oh, that's going to be a goal. UCLA from far out. It's about a 6-meter shot. They just sail it over the head of Michigan keeper Cameron Cordial.
Yeah, Maddie Musselman, I don't know, she just caught the goalie sleeping, it looked like, and was just able to throw it to the opposite side, a slow lob, but a goal nonetheless.
Indeed, that did not really look like it was a shot that was going to be very competitive for a goal, but nonetheless, that was able to go in. Maybe they caught the keeper off guard. Now Michigan takes possession. They're going to try to counter that. Don't want to get behind against a team like UCLA. Right now, it's been strong defense from the Bruins, not really allowing. And right there on a Michigan pass that's tipped by the defender, and that's going to prevent Michigan from scoring on their first possession to counter UCLA. UCLA now takes over.
Michigan trying to lob it over the defender into the 2-meter zone, but UCLA able to deflect it away and retain possession.
Indeed, now UCLA trying to maybe get to a 2-goal lead. They have 100% or 1,000. They're batting 1,000 for shots right now. That's a trend that's unlikely to continue, but you never know here. UCLA is a very talented team. And it appears that after sorting out some penalties, it appears that Michigan is going to, rather UCLA is awarded with a foul. However, they immediately turn around and commit their own offensive foul, so it's going to be Michigan ball now. Michigan now trying to work away into the UCLA 5-meter zone. Kim Johnson of Michigan, she scored quite a few times against Wagner earlier today. She passes it up to teammate Kathy Rogers. Rogers back to Johnson. Johnson fires, and that's just a little bit too wide. Sails just left of the goal.
She put a lot of power on that one. You could hear it bang against the side of the pool on the miss. Keep shooting like that, she'll get some to fall.
UCLA now regroups. Ball is it with Musselman, and if you've heard that name, Maddie Musselman, before, it might be from the Rio Olympics. She was a member of that gold medal winning team. So this is truly some world-class caliber talent here today for the UCLA Bruins. Michigan commits an exclusionary penalty, so it's going to be a 6-on-5 power play for the Bruins. They're going to slow down the ball now and try to find a look that they think can get them an easy goal. They're moving the ball around the perimeter, pump faking, back to Musselman. Musselman has a lane if he chooses to take it, decides to pass it to a teammate, back to Musselman. Musselman passes to another teammate. Oh, and it's rejected straight to the hands of Maddie Stier. What a great deflection. However, she finds an open teammate and is able to get it to number 24, Lexi Leibowitz, who puts it into the side netting for a goal. 2-0 UCLA, and that really has to be a deflator for the Wolverines. After coming up with a deflection like that, it was all for nothing, it turns out to be.
Yeah, that was a strong block by Maddie Stier, but UCLA credit them for the concentration. They're able to stick with it and get a goal of their own on that possession and take a 2-0 lead.
And Musselman and Steer, those are probably the names to know for these teams. Musselman was a star, one of the best players, and a starter for the U.S. women's national team at the Olympics. And Maddie Steer is not going to play for the U.S. national team ever because she's Australian, but one of Australia's best players and the reigning CWA Conference Player of the Week. As Michigan works it in, they get the ball to Kim Johnson down low. However, she is double-teamed and turns the ball over. So now a really strong start from UCLA. They're up 2-0 with 4:38 to play in this first quarter.
UCLA able to collapse inside and deny entry into the 2-meter zone for Michigan. And looks like UCLA really is playing strong early on.
Yeah, Michigan's going to have to step it up or at least just force UCLA to make more mistakes if they want to stay in this game. And it looks like there's an offensive foul. There is that mistake that Michigan needed. And because of the fouls committed at mid-pool, Michigan now has a breakaway opportunity, a bad pass through the fumbles, but Kim Johnson now has no defenders to beat. She gets the ball. Oh, I cannot believe what an unfortunate shot there for Julia Sellers. She had everyone beat in the 2-meter zone, only the keeper to beat. Poor shot, ends up hitting the post, and Michigan comes up with nothing there. They're going to have to convert opportunities like that if they want to upset the 4th-ranked Bruins.
Yeah, it's a very, very tough break for the Wolverines. Getting such a good look, point blank really, and just clanging it off the crossbar. But now they're going back in transition. They could have an opportunity here.
Another offensive penalty for the Bruins. They're maybe getting a bit too aggressive. Julia Sellers is looking what to do, trying to see if her teammates are down the pool far enough to see if they can get a fast break opportunity. Ball's in Maddie Steer's hands. Maddie Steer fires, skips it past the keeper, and you hear Nadam erupt for the first Wolverine goal of the day.
Well, like you said, it's going to be a battle of the Maddies, and Maddie Steer that time skips it past the goalie while she was guarding the near post too. It's a really, really tight shot, tight window, but she's able to get it through. Wolverines cut the deficit to 1 goal.
An impressive goal by Maddie Steer. For the first time on offense, Michigan is able to get the ball into the hands of their best playmaker, and she puts one into the back of the net with an impressive skip shot that gets by the keeper.
So now UCLA will take possession. It's like it's going to be a penalty initially, so UCLA will retain.
Indeed, UCLA retains possession. They're going to try to get the ball back towards Maddie Musselman. Referee saw something he didn't like, forced Michigan to back off the Bruin ball carrier. It's now a 6-on-5 power play for the Bruins. They scored on their previous attempt. Will they get a similar quality look? They pass the ball around the perimeter. There's an open lane to shoot if they want it, and they do. They get it by the keeper. 3-1 lead for the Bruins. That's going to put Michigan into an even deeper hole now. They're down 2 again. They gave up 5 goals in their previous game against UCLA. It doesn't look like that's going to hold today. And they only scored 4.
You can't commit penalties against UCLA because when they get that 6-on-5 power play advantage, they're just too good at moving the ball around and getting the look that they want. It's not going to work well if the Wolverines commit penalties and find themselves at a disadvantage.
Indeed, they only scored 4 against UCLA last time around, so right now, if they can only match that total, their 3 points is going to be all they can afford to give up, which is unrealistic that they're going to shut them out for another 25 minutes. Right now, Maddie O'Reilly, the freshman who's had a pretty good tournament so far, has the ball, but only 4 seconds in the shot clock. She wisely decides to chuck the ball into the corner, forcing the Bruins to have to chase the ball and burn some of their own shot clock just to retrieve it. However, the Bruins goalkeeper, Carly Capana, is able to corral the ball and passes it forward to her teammates. Rachel Whittledge has the ball right now. Pump fakes, tries to get beyond Kim Johnson, has to dump it to a teammate. Another fantastic shot by Lizette Roseboom. She skips it around halfway to the post, and then it ends up skipping in past Michigan's keeper, resulting in a UCLA goal. They're now leading 4-1 and taking a dominant lead against a team that should be strong competition for the Bruins.
The UCLA, we've seen them all day just be so explosive on the offensive side, and they haven't slowed down at all, even despite the increase in the competition level against the Michigan Wolverines. The Wolverines are just unable to slow them down right now on defense, and that's going to have to change if they really want a shot to win this game.
Yeah, disappointing start for the Wolverines. They're going to have to play better really in every facet of the game, not imposing too much on offense. Had that one good look that they converted, and they've allowed 4 goals already with 2:10 to play in the first quarter. That goal was once again from Rachel Whittledge, another Californian in this UCLA roster. Very many Californians on this roster, along with Sweden, Netherlands, and Australia represented as well. Wolverines restarting possession now. Sophie Pontre has the ball at the point, heading the offense. Ball returns to Pontre. She does a short pass to Maddie Steer. Maddie Steer pumps, tries to get as high as she can out of the water. Ball back to Steer. Elevates herself, finds a teammate on the wing. Steer has the ball. Michigan does have a 6-5 advantage here. Steer elevates again. Oh, and the ball ricochets off the water, then off the post. The shot from Kim Johnson bounced twice before finding itself back in the hands of Maddie Steer. Michigan no longer has the 6-on-5 advantage, but they do retain possession.
That's another really tough break for the Wolverines. The second shot that's hit the side or the crossbar of the goal.
A great pass from Anderson, gets it in deep to Julia Sellers. Sellers back to Steer. Steer has a lane to shoot if she wants it, but she skips it wide right of the net, and it's going to be Bruin ball, rather.
The Wolverines having a really tough time hitting shots right now. They've got to lock it down on the defensive end to keep this game manageable.
Indeed, there's a minute to play in this first quarter. It's been very disappointing for the Wolverines so far. UCLA's Bronte Halligan from Australia is leading the offense. Passes into teammate down low. However, she's double teamed, but is able to draw a penalty, a minor penalty. No one's going to have to come off, but it will give UCLA some more room. They have 8 seconds, though, and they're moving backward. They need to get a shot off quickly, and it's not going to be a high percentage one. 3, 2, and she just flips the ball forward. No shot coming. It's going to be Wolverine ball. And with 33 seconds, the shot clock is off. If they will take the last shot of this period.
So that's a good job by the Wolverines to get out of this period with minimal damage. And if they're able to come away with a good shot here, they could find themselves in at least a more favorable position than could have been imagined a couple minutes ago.
Indeed, looking to minimize the damage right now. Caroline Anderson has the ball, looking to enter the 5-meter zone. She swims across it, but then dumps it back to teammate Maddie Steer. 8 seconds to go. Caroline Anderson fires one, and what a shot. Finds itself into the upper right corner of the net. That just gets by the keeper.
Caroline Anderson with a strong faraway shot that goes top shelf, beats the goalie. That's the possession that Michigan needed on really to finish the quarter almost with 6 seconds left. But cutting it down 4-2 puts them in a much more favorable position heading into the second period.
And with 6 seconds left, it looks like both coaches are not content to run out the quarter. They're bringing in a ton of subs to get some fresh swimmers out there and possibly be able to get another goal on the scoreboard. 6 seconds, let's see what UCLA draws up here to try to recapture that 3-goal lead.
They don't want to give up anything silly here.
Indeed, this should not be too difficult for the Wolverines. UCLA is going to swim forward. He's going to try to get someone open. 4 seconds to go. They do have a shot. They can take it. This could go, but good defense from Julia Sellers. Puts some pressure on UCLA's Roxy Wheaton. Does not allow her to get a shot off, even though she had the inside angle at the net. So, Lucas, initial reactions to that first quarter that the Wolverines now got outscored in 4-2.
Well, Michigan missed some really tough shots. Like we said, a couple that went off the side of the goal or the crossbar that they would just love to have those opportunities back. Just some very, very tough misses to handle. And then on the other end, every time that they committed an exclusionary penalty, it came back to bite them. UCLA just too good at executing their offense, even in a normal 6-on-6 situation where you cannot give them that 6-5 advantage.
Yeah, you said it, the exclusionary penalty, that could be the difference in this game. UCLA picking up 2 for 2 on theirs. However, Michigan was 0 for 1 on their one exclusionary penalty. In fact, they ended up a rare sight there. They ended up just burning the entire clock, and the UCLA player was free to return. Michigan not getting any good looks. Meanwhile, UCLA has been able to get the ball inside, especially on exclusionary 6-on-5 opportunities. But right now you can hear the band. The fans have a chant going on. They're going to try to make UCLA less comfortable here, despite the fact they have a 2-goal lead.
Yeah, Michigan really wants this home pool advantage to be at their benefit and give them some extra energy. UCLA very, very sharp in that first period. continuing the great effort that we've seen all day today. From early in the morning until now, they've just been an offensive juggernaut, and Michigan needs to lock it down on defense to compete with them. Absolutely. Michigan cannot afford to allow goals at this rate. For really stiff competition, 2 points a quarter, that can be enough to get you to win. However, allowing 4 a quarter, that's on pace for 16 goals. You can do the math at home. That's not going to win you very many water polo games. The second period hasn't been the strongest all day for the Wolverines. They really need a strong one here. Absolutely, yeah. You pointed out they struggled against Wagner. They lost the second period to Wagner, lost the second period to China. They're going to have to perform better in this second period if they want to stay in this. Michigan lost the sprint last time. They're lining up into formation for the sprint. It was a real close one, though. That can be the difference in a game. As we saw in that first possession that the Bruins earned by winning the sprint, they scored and got up 1-0. So if Michigan can win the sprint this quarter, that could really change the tide a bit. Any players you want to see Michigan get the ball to more after that first quarter? Well, I think Maddie Steer has got to be your focal point of your offense. I mean, this morning against Wagner, she was phenomenal. She had a goal there in the first period, one of the 2. She needs to get the ball in favorable positions where she can take shots that she can make. And she's well rested too. Did not play at all in the China exhibition game. They are off. Michigan's Kathy Rogers, the freshman, is their swimmer. Can she beat UCLA? And it's going to be another close one, and UCLA once again just narrowly edges it out. Lexi Leibowitz of UCLA once again just narrowly beats Kathy Rogers to the ball. These have been some of the best sprints I've seen so far today. So Leibowitz sets up her team, gets the ball to teammate Haley Evans. Evans is far away from the cage. She's going to have to force herself more if she wants to get a good shot. She's able to find a teammate who's closely guarded by Maddie Steer. Wow, what defense by Maddie Steer. Just locked down the UCLA center with the ball and allowed her 3 teammates to come in and strip the ball from the UCLA center. Michigan now takes possession. It's great team defense that converges on UCLA's Shara Sheldon. Almost 4 players really converging and collapsing on the inside to deny any good shot. And the Wolverines are rewarded with a trip back on offense. A much more physical defensive stand right there by the Wolverines than we saw in the previous game. The Wolverines are running out of time themselves. Only 8 seconds on the shot clock, and they're still very far away from the goal. It's going to take a far shot. Oh, that was nearly a fantastic lob from Kim Johnson. She was about 10 meters away from the cage, had no realistic hopes of scoring, but that ball was dipping and nearly dove into the cage for a Michigan goal. However, that's not ended up sailing just over, and now the Bruins, rather, are going to try to add to their lead right now. Ball back into possession. Offensive foul. Yeah, you're right. Haley Evans had the ball, but that's not going to result in anything, so the offensive foul. Caroline Anderson could choose to try to outswim the Bruins, but she's going to pass it back to Steer, who gives it right back to Anderson, thinks she has an angle. It's a good look. Finds, I think she was trying to find teammate Maddie Johnston. Looks like a foul, I think, of some sort. It's going to be a turnover for it's going to be, a shot for Maddie Steer, a penalty. UCLA held Maddie Johnston, so now Maddie Steer is going to get a chance to try to make this a 1-goal game with a penalty shot. She winds up, skips it, and right by the keeper. Man, that was a close one. Maddie Steer again with a skip shot, straight on one-on-one with the goalie. She has been the offensive go-to option for the Wolverines all day and really all season. Indeed, if the Wolverines can keep getting the ball to her, they're going to do very well. UCLA got caught. They let Maddie Johnston behind her, and Caroline Anderson was smart to lob the ball to Maddie Johnston. Johnston was held as she tried to advance, and that earned Maddie Steer the penalty shot that she ended up converting to make this a 3-4 game. 6.5 to play in this third quarter. UCLA hasn't done much so far with this possession, trying to impose themselves. Haley Evans passes the ball inside. Great defense by Steer again. Actually, I guess the referee doesn't agree with me. Steer is going to be sent off for 20 seconds as now UCLA is on the power play. Working the ball around the perimeter. UCLA is very close to the cage right now. They can shoot anytime they want. They get the ball around to the wing, and Michigan's defense really stout, forces UCLA to back up a bit. UCLA now has to dump the ball back. They're about 7 meters away, and that's a low percentage shot. Maddie Musselman, probably the best player in the pool today.
I don't know why she decided to take that shot. There was still time in the exclusion, but the alley to the goal was really blocked. There was a sea of hands in there. No way she was going to get that one past Michigan keeper Cameron Cordial. Strange shot selection there from a really talented player.
Committing penalties was a big problem in the first period for the Wolverines. This time they do it again, but they're able to lock it down in the power kill. It's a great job to stop UCLA from scoring a goal.
Very difficult
when you're
down a swimmer. Maddie Steer tries to get the ball into her center, Julia Sellers. However, she had a defender all over her and can't get a good shot out at all. Wasn't really looking and just shot the ball wide right of the post. So now UCLA is going to the possession with 5 minutes to go in this third quarter. They really have had many good looks right now so far. And now Maddie Musselman has the ball. Another offensive penalty against the Bruins. They have to stop committing those or they're just not going to get shots. You can't win without shots. So now Kim Johnson gives the ball to Maddie Steer. Maddie Steer is going to try to swim down and force the issue, maybe get a shot off. She has an angle. She can take a shot if she wants it. No one's guarding her. Oh, she skips it. The ball went off the post, off the back of the keeper, then back off the post. With a little bit more luck, that could have rattled in. That's about the third time we said that today, that the Wolverines just got an unfortunate bounce off the post that could have tied this game up.
A third tough break, but a great push by Maddie Steer on the offensive end. She got the ball and swam, almost outswam really all the defenders swimming back in transition.
Yeah, Australia, they always dominate in the swimming contest of the Olympics, showing her swimming prowess there. UCLA works the ball into the center, gets the ball back out to Louise Hazel, and she's able to fire a shot that gets behind Cordial. That's going to be a goal for UCLA, extends their lead to 5-3 with 4:24 to go in the third quarter. Michigan had a really strong second quarter, which you pointed out they had not been having so far today, but there they allow a goal.
Yeah, they give up a goal. It's just a tough back and forth situation where you miss on the offensive end so narrowly, and then you give up a goal on your defensive end. Wolverines just got to stay poised. A lot of time left, long game, and it looks like they're starting to settle into this game a little bit more. See if they can come up with a good possession right here.
It will be a long game, and one thing worth noting, UCLA has rotated far more players through their lineup than the Wolverines have. So this Wolverine team really can't afford to get behind because they might get tired. As they start their possession after following the goal, they kind of pass the ball around in the middle of the pool. Can't get anything done and turn the ball over. It's now going to be UCLA ball with Maddie Musselman. Has the ball now. She can shoot if she wants to. Passes out to the wing. Her teammate doesn't like the angle, though, and has to find elsewhere. Maddie Steer providing excellent defense. Caroline Anderson guarding Maddie Musselman. Gets it into the center. The center wisely decides to drop the ball so that way she can get called for an exclusionary foul against her on Maddie Steer. Maddie Steer back into the exclusionary zone. 6-on-5 advantage for the Bruins, who pass it around the perimeter, are trying to get the goalie to be facing the wrong direction for when they take a shot. They're getting in closer and closer to the goal, and that's just you can't let Maddie Musselman have that kind of shot. She easily gets it past the keeper. Too close to the
way too easy of a shot. The Wolverines are starting to let this one maybe slip away. Timeout being called to maybe stop some of the UCLA momentum.
Yeah, after playing well for about a solid 4 minutes of really going into back to that first quarter, it's 3.5 to play in the third. So for about 10 minutes, they really regrouped themselves. They're playing very well, and now not so much. They're back down to a 3-goal deficit. That's the largest they've faced all night. They're going to have to find something different to do because right now UCLA is getting ready to run away with this one.
And right now the timeout allows the Michigan players to settle down, catch their breath, maybe slow some of the UCLA momentum, but also allows the crowd to show their presence again, get back into this thing, get behind their team, and maybe the Wolverines come out with some more energy and have an opportunity to put a goal, at least one more goal back on the board before halftime.
Indeed, there's 3.5 to go. They're going to want to get into the half with at least a 2-goal deficit. Ideally, they can maybe even strive to have just be down 1. Right now, it's got to be damage control for the Wolverines. If they pick up their quality of play, they can maybe get back in this game, but they're struggling right now. Maddie Steer keeps on getting called for exclusionary fouls and has to spend some time in the penalty square, we'll call it, where the excluded players have to wait their 20 seconds. Head coach Marcelo Leonardi calls timeout. and now is going to set up had some time to chat with his players. Is going to set up the offensive play he wants to try to make this a 6-4 game. Cameron Cordial is going to take the ball and pass it forward. Maddie Steer, who typically plays in the front of the offense at the point, is now playing more closer toward the cage at center. Looks like they're going to try to force the ball to her.
Yeah, force the issue to your best player. That's not a bad plan as long as they're able to get the ball to her. I think she'll know what to do with it.
Indeed, you got to get the ball in a time like this. Try to let your best playmakers make plays. As Cordial starts play here in the third quarter, Kathy Rogers has the ball at mid-pool, trying to find any player who's open to try to develop a play here. Finds teammate Julia Sellers. 20 seconds to go, and Michigan has not caused any damage, and that's a bad pass by Sellers, picked off by UCLA's Devin Grab rather. A fitting name there, she just grabbed the ball out of midair.
Yeah, she snatched that one, trying to complete a skip past the Wolverines, but not on her watch. She jumped out of the water and snatched it with one hand, has the Bruins going the other way.
Indeed, it was reminiscent of the Wolverines' Jordan Lewis. Right now, UCLA looking to build on this lead. They haven't had a 4-goal lead yet today. They're going to try to find one right now. But however, they turn it over. Julia Sellers teams up with Kim Johnson for a great double team. They're able to get a steal and pickpocket the ball. Michigan tries to get down the field on a fast break. However, is going to have to settle for a more conventional offensive approach. Kim Johnson has the ball right now. She's at right around the 5-meter boundary. Trying to find a teammate to get open. Maddie Johnson tries to cut down the middle of the pool to get open. She's going to dump it back to Julia Sellers. Sellers about 7 meters out. Doesn't see anything she likes right now. Sellers to Steer. Steer back to Sellers and back to Steer once more. She pump fakes. Finds teammate Cleveland. Back to Steer. Back to Sellers, who has a lane if she wants it. Finds it back to Johnston, but oh, a great save by the keeper.
Wow, phenomenal save. That's a strong shot by Johnson at such close range. A very tough save.
Indeed, the keeper had to get both hands on there. The only player in the pool allowed to touch the ball with both hands. And she used both of them wisely, was able to stop a very hard shot and prevent Michigan from narrowing UCLA's lead. UCLA plays the ball in toward their center. They have a good shot here. Is able to lob one, but it goes just wide right of the post. It's going to be Michigan ball with 1:40 to play in this second quarter. Michigan is really going to be aching to try to get this game closer for halftime.
Yeah, looks like Michigan's going to have about 2 possessions left. If they can get at least 1 goal, they should be in okay shape.
Kim Johnson finds Julia Sellers down low. However, Julia Sellers once again is stuffed by UCLA's keeper. Carly Capana has had a simply fantastic game so far. I don't know how the Wolverines are going to get 3 more by her just to tie this up.
Yeah, she's been very outstanding, especially in these last couple of possessions. Another great save at a close range. She's been a very big difference maker for the Bruins.
Capana, another player who is a member of the U.S. Women's National Team. So that's world-class competition right there. The U.S. Women's Team has won gold every single year they've competed in water polo in the Olympics.
Looks like UCLA wants to talk it over so they can maybe draw up a play and try and extend their lead going into half.
Yeah, head coach Adam Wright's calling a timeout because guess who? Maddie Steer is headed back to the penalty square. It's going to be another exclusionary foul against the Wolverines. They can't keep putting themselves in this position as the Wolverines are going to drop a play that they like and try to find a look that they think is good and can make this a 7-3 game. So there's about a minute to go. UCLA is going to run their offense. Maddie Steer, for the 3rd time, is in the penalty square. UCLA puts the ball in. They're working it around the perimeter. Lexi Leibowitz finds.
I don't think the clock started.
That's a good cut. Yep, the referee had to stop the game. Indeed, there was a minute it said there was a minute on the clock about 10 seconds ago, and there still is a minute. Good find there, Lucas. You beat the clock operator to that one.
So they'll try and get that corrected and get play underway.
And this time the ball is once again played back to Carly Capana. Capana puts it up to Musselman and her teammate on the U.S. national team. Lexi Leibowitz has it, and now 3 has a shot. Musselman, rather, doesn't have a good look. Sea of hands in her way. Once again, good defense, a sea of hands preventing any UCLA shots right now. However, it's a good alley right now and a good save. That was a great skip shot from Lizette Roseboom. However, Cordial is able to get a hand on it. It's going to be UCLA ball, but there's 1 second left in the exclusionary penalty, and Michigan is back to full strength. Roseboom has another shot, a very similar look, passes on that opportunity, gets it to Musselman, who is met by Michigan's Caroline Anderson, steals the ball, and now Michigan can try to make this a two-point game. 23 seconds to go. Michigan will have the last possession, barring a turnover. Steer is stuck with the ball right at the midway point of the pool. 14 seconds, they have to operate quickly here. The ball's into Kathy Rogers. Kathy Rogers has Kim Johnson, who's getting open, but the keeper comes out. Capana heads up play and beats Johnson to the ball. It's going to be, in all likelihood, a 3-goal game going to the half. Oh, but somehow Capana was able to catch all of Michigan off guard. Caught me off guard. I wasn't paying attention to that. Bronte Halligan got beyond the Michigan defense, got the pass, but didn't have enough time to set up a good shot. Had to fire wide right. 6-3 game going into the second half.
UCLA just playing at such a high level in that first half on the offense and defensive end. Even on that last leak out pass, I mean, just great IQ to have a leak out in the first place, and the goalie tosses it across the pool, trying to get one last chance at it. Did not go in, but still, it's a great look for the Bruins. Wolverines are going to need to get some shots to fall, obviously, in this second half, but it's all started on their defense. When their defense has been good, they've been able to get some energy going and get some good looks at least that maybe haven't fallen, but if they're able to continue to generate those good looks, that's where they could find success and start to come back. Chip away at it one by one.
Indeed, but it's going to be hard to beat Carly Capana. She's had a fantastic game. One of two UCLA Bruins who are on the U.S. women's national team. And there's a few other recent Bruin grads on that team as well. It's a fantastic program they have there in Westwood. Michigan's going to have to come up with their best play of the season to narrow this lead. They might have saved their best play for that Santa Barbara game last week against UCLA. They lost 4-5. Right now, they're envying a 4-5. They're envying a 4-5 score because they're down 3. It's going to be really hard to make up this deficit.
It's going to be tough, but if Michigan, it's a great test either way. You know, if you fall to UCLA right now, it's not the end of the world, but what you do want to see is you want to see how they respond to being in a situation like this. Having already lost the game to UCLA this season, how do they respond in the second half, knowing that they do have a chance to compete with these guys?
They absolutely do have a chance. According to USAWaterPolo.org's computerized rankings, they think Michigan's even better than the human polls. They have Michigan at number 4, UCLA at number 3, and they think Michigan's really close. They think Michigan is they give them a rating of 13.4. That's above Hawaii, who's 5th at 12.6. But they think UCLA is just in that second tier of Berkeley, UCLA, and Arizona State, who are all ranked 15.4, 16.4, 16.7. So this is clearly a game where UCLA is the favorite, but by all means, Michigan can compete in this. They're going to want to impress the voters so they can keep that top 10 polling position, because the top 10 teams get to play in the NCAA championship. They want to make people continue to think of them as a top 10 team, so they not win the conference and have to qualify as an at-large team. Right now, they have not had the performance they need to establish themselves as a true championship contender, but they played well enough against UCLA before. What do you think they need to change for the second half?
I think they want to buckle down on the defensive end, and right now their goal should be to win the third period. Win the third period and at least get this thing down to a 2-goal deficit heading into the last period. Give yourself a chance to win. That's all you can ask for.
It's a daunting task to make up this lead. However, scoring 1 goal isn't that bad. Making 1 defensive stop, not that difficult. The Wolverines know they can play at UCLA's level. They just have to kind of get out of their heads right now and focus on the immediate future.
And so with that, I will turn it over to Nate Sorensen, who is also with us. He will call the second half for me and join Daniel Thompson. Once again, I'm Lucas Vargas. I want to say thank you for listening to our coverage of women's water polo here at the University of Michigan. And tune in tomorrow as well, where we will be covering the second day of the Michigan Invitational. So here's Nate.
Thanks, Lucas, and welcome, Nate. It's been a really action-packed day so far. Michigan had a really close game with Wagner, ended up winning 10-7, pulled away late. Now Michigan hoping they can have another interesting one down the stretch. A 3-6 score is not insurmountable by any means. However, things are looking bleak for the Wolverines at this moment. What do you want to see out of them to tighten this game up?
Well, you know, what's been killing them so far in this first half has been the penalties on both sides. You know, whenever they're practically at a disadvantage every time UCLA has the ball. And UCLA has been taking advantage. They pass the ball well. They know how to attack this Michigan defense. And then when Michigan does manage to get an opportunity on the offensive end, when UCLA commits a penalty, they just have not been able to take advantage at all. You know, it's really frustrating to see from this Michigan team. They've had opportunities to score. They just can't convert.
Indeed, they really have not been converting that many looks in just regular the field of play. One of Michigan's 3 goals came from a penalty shot, which is always great if you can get one, but it's not quite as difficult as a regular goal from the field of play. So we're going to see the sprint here any moment now, and we're going to see if Michigan can narrow the gap. It looks like the sprinters are the same. Kathy Rogers for the Wolverines is actually going to be a different sprinter for the Bruins. It's going to be Grace Rigo is going to be the sprinter. Kathy Rogers narrowly lost her last 2 sprints to Lexi Leibowitz. Any moment now, the referee will blow the whistle and initiate the third quarter sprint. Maybe Kathy Rogers can win this matchup. An extra possession certainly couldn't hurt the Wolverines right now. They are on their way. It's going to be hard to tell who gets this one. The ball is dropped into the pool, and it looks like Kathy Rogers will win this one. Gets it back to her trail, Caroline Anderson. That's a big step forward for the Wolverines. They'd lost the first 2 sprints, win the third here. Yeah. Caroline Anderson is now looking for a teammate.
Wolverines need every advantage they can get at this point.
Yeah, very difficult to overcome a 3-goal deficit. Right now, Sophie Pontre, a countrywoman of Maddie Steers, has the ball, passes it in to Kathy Rogers, who ends up having an errant pass attended for Maddie Johnston, but UCLA is able to deflect that one, and it winds up in the hands of Carly Kanapana.
Yeah, missed opportunity. Johnston had some pretty good positioning there. Rogers just could not get the ball where it needed to be.
Another quick turnover by the Bruins. It's going to be Michigan ball. We'll have another opportunity. That's been the one flaw. The Bruins have turned the ball over a lot on offense. A lob pass here from the keeper. Gets the ball up to Julia Sellers in the 5-meter zone. She passes the ball backward, though, and gets the ball to Caroline Anderson. Michigan trying to find any gap they can take. Rogers passes it back to Anderson. Anderson to Pontre, who finds Johnston at the center, and that's going to be an exclusionary penalty against the Bruins. They fouled Maddie Johnston, who was open in space. So now Johnston gives the ball back to Sellers, who finds Steer. Back to Johnston. Now they're looking for the best shot they can find. Plenty of time to go. No reason to rush this at all. Maddie Steer finds Anderson. Steer, sea of hands in her way. She can't take a shot here. Johnston, nothing doing. There's still about 10 seconds to go, and now they're about to be back at full strength. Johnston fires, and that's a goal. That was not an ideal look. Typically, you can find a better shot than that on a power play. However, Johnston with a great shot, top shelf, beats the fantastic Carly Kapina and is able to make this a 2-goal game.
Yeah, really, they're just bouncing the ball around the outside, not able to penetrate the UCLA defense at all, and just Johnston just decided to pull the trigger. I don't know what she saw, how she managed to find that window, but what an excellent goal. Huge play for the Wolverines to take advantage of that power play, take this deficit down to 2.
And right now, we see Kim Johnston trying to force pressure once UCLA takes this ball from mid-pool. Michigan getting aggressive, almost deploying a full-court press type of offense here, or defense rather. The UCLA has committed a lot of turnovers. They're going to keep trying to make those happen. Meanwhile, UCLA has moved the ball around the wing. 15 seconds to go. They're not entirely urgent to shoot just yet. Louise Hazel has the ball right now, has to pass the ball back toward the top of the offense. 8 seconds to go. UCLA has to shoot quickly. UCLA pass that to the wing. Oh, and they finally have a good shot. Their center has the ball in open space. and she is going to be fouled. It's going to be a penalty shot, I believe, upcoming here for the Bruins. It was an obvious goal-scoring opportunity, and Michigan committed a penalty to prevent that. A good call there by the referee. Now Bront Halligan out of Australia is going to get a penalty shot here to try to build on this UCLA lead. She's waiting for the referee's go-ahead. Now has it. She's going to shoot whenever she's ready. No, she's being told she's not ready yet. And now can fire at will. She aims right and is really a perfect shot. There was not enough time for Cordial to get all the way that far right. That's about as good as placement as you can have on a penalty shot. Nothing Cordial could have done to save that. It's now a 7-4 UCLA lead. Yeah,
that's a tough break for the Wolverines. They defended that possession almost perfectly, made UCLA use all of their shot clock there, and then give up an easy opportunity at the last second. That's tough to swallow.
They were almost out of the woods, but had a gap in the coverage. Really, turns out to be a very costly mistake. And right now, Caroline Anderson is having trouble advancing the ball. Finds an open Maddie Johnston now. There's 17 seconds, still time to work with the ball. Anderson finds Kim Johnson. Johnson is picked off with an ill-advised throw to Julia Sellers. She was well covered. There was really no way she could throw that so that neither the defender nor the keeper could have picked that off.
Yeah, and after that last goal, UCLA brought in a whole wave of subs, one of those being Maddie Musselman back in the game here. There she already is impacting the game, got that interception.
Indeed, Maddie Musselman really a force to be reckoned with. One of the better players on the women's national team. Meanwhile, UCLA commits another offensive turnover. Typically, this would be something that would drive a coach crazy. However, the way they've played offense when they aren't committing turnovers has justified that aggressive type of play.
Yeah, their head coach, Adam Wright, doesn't look like the type of guy that ever gets driven crazy.
That California lifestyle, I guess you could say.
Yeah, he's over there in a pair of sweats right now. I don't know. He looks calm. Looks like he's having a nice day.
Not to be outdone by Michigan head coach Dr. Marcelo Leonardi rocking a ponytail. So very laid back. He's also a California native.
There you go. His hair does look very slick. The ponytail, it works for him.
He's pulling it off indeed. And he's been pulling off a lot of great victories with Michigan water polo. He has a 720 career winning percentage. He's had 3 full seasons here. He's beginning his 4th, and by his 2nd season, he really turned this team around. They were just a middle-of-the-pack team. Had only ever been to 1 national championship prior to his inaugural season. They only went to that one because they were the hosts. Canham Natatorium was hosting the national championship. They'll host again in 2022. But since in his 2nd and 3rd years, the team won the CWPA conference both times, and he has earned back-to-back bids to the national championship, including as strong as a 4th-place finish, and only 1 career loss in conference play. Michigan does not have a conference game yet. So far this season, they won't play one until later down the road. But right now, he could get a signature win if he can beat UCLA. That's unlikely, though. His team down 3 with 4:47 to play.
Yeah, so far, though, you can just tell that Michigan is one of the premier elite teams in the nation. You know, UCLA is just absolutely loaded with talent, and they have been going toe-to-toe with them so far here today.
Indeed, Maddie Musselman, arguably the 2nd-best player on the women's national team behind Maggie Stevens. Right now, Michigan is trying to set up an offense. Maddie Steer loses possession, but gets it back to Maddie O'Reilly. Maddie Steer has the ball. She could shoot if she wants to. It's a bad angle, though. Steer fires. Oh, that's a quick decision. Not a great look, but I like the aggressiveness there. However, she tried to get it in the very low corner of the cage, but however, Carly Capana, very difficult to beat, and gets there, makes a save, and now UCLA on the counter.
Yeah, Johnson with the quick trigger, probably trying to catch Capana by surprise. It caught me by surprise, but does not work on Carly Capana. She's
Grace
just on her
Rigo
toes.
gets it to Musselman, and Capana, you were very right, Capana was on her toes. Rigo got it into Musselman. Musselman took a quick shot. However, she could not sneak it past Michigan defender Maddie Johnston. He was very ready for that and got her arm on the ball, made an easy save for her keeper. Now Michigan has the ball again, 3:43 to go. They're going to need offense sooner rather than later. Delaney Cleveland gets the ball to Caroline Anderson. Anderson finds Kim Johnson, who scored quite a few times today already. Kim Johnson only has 7 seconds. She has to shoot quickly. Decides to dump it back to Anderson. Anderson has to shoot. 3, 2, 1. There's not enough time for Johnson to shoot. Rather, O'Reilly, who she passed it to. That was an ill-advised pass. She should have just taken a shot.
Yeah, really forced that pass in there, and there was just no opportunity to score there for O'Reilly. She had a defender draped all over her.
So right now, scoring split 1-1 in this quarter. Michigan has played better, but it hasn't been dominant enough to get back into this one. UCLA's Rachel Whittledge has the ball right now, hand in her face, gets it into Musselman, has a good shot, and Musselman's going to score that 99 times out of 100. She was able to find an opening in the hole, get off of her defender, Maddie Johnston, and it was an open look. She had the keeper beat. Yeah, I know you got to just pray in that situation that Musselman isn't going to score there.
Yeah, can't give her that kind of position in the first place. That's a no-go.
Yeah, that goal was earned through position. It was a very easy shot. You and I could have scored that one. But we could not fought for that position like Musselman did.
I've said it before today. I would drown almost instantly in this swimming pool. I can tell.
The fans are not discouraged, though. UCLA has opened up their largest lead of the day, 4-8, doubling the Wolverines in score right now, but there's still a Let's Go Blue chant rocking from this crowd. If they can put a goal, they might be able to get this crowd into it. Caroline Anderson has the ball on the wing, right at the corner of the 5-meter zone. Dumps it back to Rogers. Rogers finds Johnson. Johnson almost loses it, double teamed, and she commits an offensive foul. Kind of got her hand in the face of UCLA's Grace Rigo. That's going to be UCLA ball. Musselman is trying to outswim the entire Wolverine defense, but she cannot outswim Michigan sprinter Kathy Roger. But you can't find a teammate who is open for a great look, but is stuffed by Cameron Cordial, rather. That's probably her best save of the tournament. There was no one to beat but the keeper, but Cordial got her arm in position as Michigan quickly flips the ball downfield to Sellers. Sellers is being really well defended right now. Could have had an angle otherwise. Sellers doesn't know where to go, decides to dump it back. 15 seconds, Michigan going to have to get a good look, unlike the previous two possessions. Rogers finds Anderson, 10 seconds to shoot. Anderson can't find anyone, passes it back to Rogers, 5. Rogers shoots, and it's all pays off in the end because it was tipped out of bounds by the keeper. That's going to give Michigan a fresh new shot clock with 2 to go in this quarter. Man, that Wolverines would hate to try to make up 4 goals in one quarter. They want to cut into this lead. Fresh new shot clock.
These last few possessions, Michigan has just really not gotten the ball at all to Maddie Steer. She has really not had many touches or much impact on this offense. They got to get her the ball some more here.
Speak of the devil, the ball gets to Steer, an exclusionary foul committed. Oh, what a lob! Michigan didn't need the one-woman advantage, rather. Right as the UCLA player was swimming out of bounds to serve her time. That didn't matter. Caroline Anderson did not take the foot off the pedal. Finds Kim Johnson, who was wide open in front of the keeper. Shoots it immediately. There's no way you can block that one, even if you're a keeper as good as Carly Capana.
Yeah, and an excellent pass there by Anderson. As soon as she received the pass from Steer there, touched it over to Johnson immediately. It was just an easy goal there, coming off that excellent ball movement.
Michigan bringing out a lot of its starters. We're seeing a lot of the players who got some time in the exhibition match against China. Interesting decision here, but it looks like they're going to give most of their star players a breather. It appears to be the second Wolverine squad that's in right now.
Yeah, surprising Michigan didn't try to do that earlier in this period when UCLA had their second unit in now. And right now, UCLA is at full force.
And a great shot by UCLA's UCLA's Devin Grab. She's able to get one by Cordial. Kind of weak defense from O'Reilly and Cordial, but nonetheless, a ricocheting skip shot can be hard to defend. Now Michigan's second team is going to try to make up for that goal they allowed. They're down 5-9, a minute to play. They really want to cut into this deficit here. Michigan's Delaney Cleveland has the ball, trying to bring it into the 5-meter zone. 15 seconds to go in this possession. Aria Walsh right now with the ball at the point. 10 seconds, they have to find someone. Cleveland loses possession briefly. She has 5 seconds and just chucks the ball. That's immediately met by the hand of Grace Rigo. This UCLA team showing right now they're a bit too much for the Wolverines to handle.
Yeah, Aria Walsh, they're just held on to the ball for far too long for most of that possession. Really, they need to get the ball moving here.
And now UCLA bringing the ball around the wing, passes it back toward the point, trying to reestablish the offense. They have a weak angle. They could take a shot. Going to pass it back up toward the top. They got a sprinter coming into the center, but an errant pass toward the center results in a turnover. Michigan ball with 10 seconds to go. They're going to have to go quick. They're letting their swimmers get down the pool to try to get open. 6 seconds to go. 5, 4, still no pass. 3, they're going to let this game go to the fourth quarter. Down 4.
And Michigan right now, I'm telling you, is very fortunate to go into this fourth quarter only down 4 goals because, as you said on that last possession, there was an errant pass. That pass was intended for Maddie Musselman, who had great position again. If she caught that one, I have no doubts that this game would be 10-5 in favor of UCLA.
When Musselman has the ball, really you have to hold your breath and see what happens. It's thrilling to watch her play. A dominant athlete, like in any sport, really can control the game. We now hear the Canham Natatorium rocking right now. The fans aren't deterred by the 4-goal deficit their team faces. You have some Michigan classics playing right now by the alumni band. Plenty of fans clapping, and of course the Michigan trooper in attendance.
And still just waving that pom-pom away.
He truly is a trooper, a stormtrooper, or just a fan. He gets about 2 in every 3 days of the year. He's at a Michigan sporting event.
And just lighten it up. Really rallying the masses here. Can tell the Michigan crowd here is just fantastic, by the way. We've got about the entire bleachers here in Canham filled up. An excellent turnout. Obviously, this is an excellent game. Hugely anticipated rematch here. I really hope that Michigan can do something, figure something out, make this one really interesting down the stretch.
Indeed. You got the fans waving flags, dancing. They're really hoping to see this team get back into it. Opportunities though for them to come out and watch their team. Michigan hosts 2 more tournaments in March and early April.
Yeah, one thing I find interesting is that in all of these games, pretty much any break in between halves or quarters, the teams, switch benches, and they're normally, they just huddle around their bench, they talk, go over whatever. UCLA elects to go all the way to the very far reaches of Canham Natatorium. They do not want anybody overhearing what they're talking about. Very secretive over there, all by themselves in the corner of the building. Very interesting choice.
Yeah, it seems like it might waste some energy just walking over there, but who knows? UCLA, they've won more championships than anyone else. Clearly they know something about women's water polo, and they don't want those precious secrets being overheard.
Well, now Michigan getting in the pool. They're ready to go. Still the Bruins off in the corner, huddled up. We have about 20 seconds left here in the break in action.
Michigan did win the sprint in the previous quarter. That helped them, although they still ended up conceding an extra goal, 1 more goal than they scored. But that would be a huge help if they want to make this comeback to win. I assume Kathy Rogers will be swimming for the Wolverines again. It'll be interesting to see who the Bruins bring out. Lexi Leibowitz won the first 2 sprints for the Bruins, and then her teammate Grace Rigo just narrowly lost to Kathy Rogers in the first one. Who is in that post position? She's in under the water right now. I can't tell who it is. It appears it's Louise Hazel out of Sweden. We haven't seen her sprint yet. She's going up against Kathy Rogers once more. Let's see who gets there. And I think Kathy Rogers is going to have this one won. Yep, she gets there. Kind of a bad throw-in by the referee. It was a bit too far to the left for either of them to get to. Rogers had to reach for it, but she gets it to her trailer. Caroline Anderson. Anderson feeds it back to Kim Johnson. Johnson back to Anderson. They're really far away from the goal. They need to start encroaching more on the goal. Kathy Rogers now has the ball. Passes it back to Anderson. Anderson doesn't have a good look at all. Rogers, not a great one. Could take a shot if she wants to. Dumps it back to Anderson. 10 seconds to play. Gets into Maddie Johnston down low, who has an open teammate, but it's ricochets off the keeper. But Rogers wins the swim to it. She's going to now have possession. She is fouled in the process. Not going to result in an exclusion, but Michigan does get a chance to reset themselves. Good look there by Julia Sellers. Is deflected by the excellent Carly Capana. Nonetheless, it results in a Kathy Rogers rebound, and Michigan will retain possession. 20 seconds to go. They're in the 5-meter zone. Maddie Steer fires. Nate, you pumped your fist. You thought that had a chance of going in. It ricocheted off, and I think you're asking right now for it to have been tipped off of Carly Capana's fingers.
It looked like it was. I'm surprised.
Well, Nate, I think it's safe to say you've caught water polo fever here today.
I have. This is... Well, we're standing. I can't really say I'm on the edge of my seat, but I'm on the tip of my toes, maybe.
That's a good way to put it. It's been a great atmosphere here in Canham Natatorium. The Stormtrooper is here, so that basically confirms this is the premier athletic event in Ann Arbor this weekend. Meanwhile, UCLA has had a very uneventful possession. There's 3 seconds left in the shot clock, and they have yet to even get close to the goal. And a very low percentage shot just flies aimlessly into the hands of Kim Johnson, goes out of bounds. It will be a Michigan ball. The team that touched it last, it doesn't matter who touched it last unless it's the keeper. The ball goes to the defense.
And that last shot was by Lizette Roseboom, I believe. Is that how it's pronounced? Of the Netherlands.
Yeah, of the Netherlands. Very Dutch-sounding name. Maddie Johnston's able to get open, but she's double-teamed, has to force an ugly shot, and it once again goes into Carly Capana's hand. She did a good job of getting open, but this UCLA team is just covering the Michigan Wolverine offense like a rug. 6 minutes to go. Michigan has to start putting up points soon. Meanwhile, UCLA has kind of slowed it down. I don't think they want to start milking the clock yet, but they really have not forced the issue at all. As a player loses her cap, I can't tell you who it is because her white cap's gone, and I can't tell you her name, but I see it floating by itself. Nate, can you read that?
I think it's a 14.
14?
I'm not sure.
In that case, it's going to be Hannah Zari. Anyway, her shot was a no-look shot. Didn't have much of a chance of going in. Easily saved by Cordial. And we're going to have an offensive foul. Michigan is going to turn the ball right back over. So in the span of 28 seconds, we're going to see three different possessions. Neither team protecting the ball very well. Whoever it is who's missing their cap is still without it. She doesn't have the ball right now, though. Kelsey Blacker is being covered right now by Maddie Johnston. And there's, I think, a timeout called by UCLA's head coach. No, it's going to be a stop and play to get the player missing her cap it back. UCLA wearing plain white with their UCLA light blue numbers. Meanwhile, Michigan has a maize trim around their caps with a dark blue, navy, and then white numbers. And the cap is almost back on. Who is that player?
It's number 5.
Don't know where you got 2 digits from, Nate, but
I don't know either.
I didn't have a prayer reading that either. It's going to be Sarah Sheldon, who lost, the junior out of Long Beach, California. And now play is resumed. UCLA moving the ball around the outside. Oh, a bad pass is tipped by Julia Sellers, but she's fouled in the process. She commits a foul in the process of trying to recover it. Ball is played inside. However, great defense. She was all over her woman. And it looks like Kim Johnson, her second great defensive play of this quarter, able to just put a hand on the ball and get possession. Timeout, Michigan. They're going to drop their play. They have to score soon. There's 5:08 to go. Michigan now, what do you expect from Marcelo Leonardi? What's he going to, in his timeout here, what do you think he's going to drop?
I don't know. It looks like he's not drawing up anything at all. He's just having his players go out there. Interesting choice here. We saw earlier in the China exhibition game, every timeout he was bringing out the whiteboard. He's drawing stuff up, being very pointed, pointing around, making specific comments to different players. Now he's just letting his players play. Interesting, down 4 in the fourth quarter here that he's kind of going with a lax and loose style.
Indeed, perhaps just trying to get his players a breather. That's a rather short timeout. But anyway, the keeper feeds it up to Maddie Johnston. Johnston puts it along the edge to Caroline Anderson. Anderson across field to Maddie Steer. She can shoot if she wants, but she waits too long. Johnston back to Anderson. Johnston takes a shot, ricochets off a defender. Just a sea of hands in the way of any Michigan shot.
That's tough right there. I really thought Maddie Steer was going to pull the trigger when she got that ball. It's tough for Michigan to miss out on that opportunity.
And that arguably is the difference today between the Wolverines and the Bruins. The Bruins have been playing a lot quicker. They've been much more willing to take shots, even if they may be low percentage. They're playing faster, stronger. They're committing a lot more offensive turnovers, the Bruins are. But it's resulted in a 4-goal lead. It was a 1-goal game last time they played, so maybe this style is working out well for the Bruins.
Yeah, definitely. You can see, just a little bit of hesitation in the way Michigan's playing right now. They're just not able to pull the trigger on shots, and that, whatever that half-second difference, if it's even that much, makes such a huge difference because, the defender's able to get over, the goalie's able to, readjust. That split second makes all the difference in the world.
It truly does. It's been, as always, a second of a reaction, talking about the difference between the keeper making the save, the attacker beating the keeper. And right now, UCLA's beaten the keeper a few more times than Michigan has. We're going to see what UCLA has here. Not quite enough time yet for the Bruins to start milking the clock, but it's going to get to that point soon. They're coming out of a timeout. Let's see what kind of offense they drew up. Ball in Maddie Musselman's hands. She's being guarded by Maddie Steer, probably the two best players for both teams. She passes it out to her teammate along the wing. UCLA moving the ball around the perimeter, hasn't been settled on a shot yet or decided to move the ball inward. Bront Halligan tries to pass the ball in. Her teammate, though, the center, I believe that's Alexis Angermund, commits a penalty, pushes off Kim Johnston, who's been great this fourth quarter on the defensive side. Now Michigan trying to be a bit quicker here. Maddie Steer has the ball along the wing, passes it back to Caroline Anderson. Anderson has Sellers maybe open. She doesn't find her, though. Penalty on UCLA. Michigan regroups. It's going to be a 6-on-5 advantage. Michigan has to take advantage of these. UCLA has, and Michigan has not to a great extent. Anderson back to Steer. Steer has a sea of hands in front of her. She takes a shot anyway, goes off the keeper. Easily recovered by Anderson. Kathy Rogers, rather. But Rogers ends up losing the ball in a fight with UCLA's Lexi Leibowitz. Steer, that's a questionable shot from her.
Yeah, and Capano looked surprised. She didn't even move, and the ball hit her just about square in the chest. Questionable aim there for sure by Steer.
And the hardest part about that is that there's arms in like your tunnel of view, so you can only kind of shoot right at the keeper. So catching them by surprise isn't that valuable. Meanwhile, UCLA tries to move the ball inward. Possibly a missed call there by the official. It looked like Steer was giving a mugging to the UCLA player. But Cordial catches the UCLA defense resting, and it appears Sellers has beat the entire UCLA defense. No one to beat, but she kind of loses track of the ball and has to hold up and lets two UCLA players get in between her and the goal. If she just had a better sense of where the ball was on that, she could have had no one to beat but the keeper. Ends up committing an offensive foul, and UCLA gets the ball back. I like what we saw there, though, from the Wolverines, trying to catch the Bruins off guard.
Yeah, like you said, Michigan hasn't been that aggressive today. Right there, Sellers just took off, and that's the kind of aggressiveness that Michigan needs if they're going to come back here.
Good aggressive play by Kathy Rogers. Steals the ball from all-world player Maddie Musselman. She has her teammate Caroline Anderson getting open in the middle if she can find her. Instead plays to Julia Sellers, who also is not a bad look. Sellers is fouled. They're going to be a 6-on-5 opportunity. Can the Wolverines finally convert one? I think they're about 2 of 8 for power plays. And now looks like Marcel Leonardi is going to call a timeout and drop the play he wants. 2:40 remaining in this game.
Yeah, also looks like we're going to get a couple of substitutions here. Not sure who we have. What it looks like one is for sure Delaney Cleveland, and possibly also Maddie O'Reilly, I believe, are both coming in for this possession.
O'Reilly came in for a power play in the game against Wagner. She did very well in that one, had some good ball movement that resulted in Michigan goal. So I think that's a wise decision there to bring O'Reilly in and maybe result in a Michigan goal. Right now, if Michigan can score, they cut it down to a 3-goal game, but there's 2:40 remaining. Michigan has to score on every possession or nearly every possession if they want to win this one.
Yeah, and that is certainly a daunting task at this point. You know, I really can't imagine it's going to take about a miracle for Michigan to come back and win this one, especially how well UCLA has played this entire game.
Indeed, Michigan, they're kind of running out of options here. They're going to have to score every time. Very little margin for error, especially on a power play. If they don't pick up this one, they're going to be pretty nervous. One thing worth noting is that there is overtime in these early regular season games. So if they can tie the game up, that's all it takes, just to force overtime and then possibly get the win in OT. But that's a long ways away right now. Michigan scoring 5, beating their mark last time against UCLA when they lost 4-5, but they've given up far more goals.
Yeah, well, if Michigan wants any hope to tie this one up right here, they need a goal. I would say this is a must-score situation.
Anderson takes the ball out, gives it to Steer, has kind of a lane, could take the shot, instead passes it to her teammate. Steer now has the ball back, gives it back to Anderson. No one's moving a whole lot. I think they need to get more movement to find some. Oh, there's now a wide open player in the center. Kathy Rogers could take the ball. Anderson doesn't have a good look at all. Finds it to Rogers, though, but it's intercepted. That's the kind of play you have to make. You have to get the ball to, try to get the ball to Rogers. Not a great pass, though. It's behind Rogers and intercepted. UCLA now is going to try to milk the clock out and let this game just wind down. 2 minutes to play. They might have a decent look here, though. They've kind of beat the Michigan defense in getting back. Steer nearly allowed a goal there, but she did a good job getting her hand in the face of Leibowitz and preventing an easy on-goal shot. Kind of a lazy possession there by UCLA. Didn't bother getting too creative, and Lizette Roseboom, the Dutch player, ends up losing the ball. Michigan has to score and score very, very quickly here. Caroline Anderson has the ball. Maddie O'Reilly, a very strong swimmer, almost got open. Gives the ball to Delaney Cleveland. Cleveland can't find anything. The clock continues to roll. Anderson has the ball. Could take a long shot. 5 seconds. They have to shoot quickly. Cleveland is going to have to shoot this one. 3, 2, 1. Gets it back to Anderson, who has to fire now. Anderson fires, and that's way far right, about a half cage distance away from the post. Minute 10 to play here.
Yeah, and that'll seal the fate of these Michigan Wolverines for sure. No chance coming back here now. This is going to be a tough loss for Michigan.
It is. They played UCLA incredibly closely in Santa Barbara. They had very many hopes in this to possibly walk out with a win here. However, their weekend is not over. They have 3 more games tomorrow, 2 against ranked teams and once against the Chinese national team, who they lost to earlier today. UCLA slowly passes the ball around, ends up launching it out of bounds. They're not going to try to force the issue at all. 38 seconds. This will be Michigan's last possession in all likelihood. Cordial waits. Worth noting also the Cordial is in goal today, and Michigan's typical starter, Heidi Rittner, whose younger sister is also on this team. Heidi Rittner did not start today. We don't know the reason why, but perhaps that could have been the difference here. Clock is winding down. 20 seconds. Ball in Cleveland's hands. 10 to go on the shot clock. An offensive foul here. 14 seconds, and UCLA is going to in all likelihood hold on to this one. Let the clock expire. Right now, Maddie Musselman, who else to wind this clock as, is swimming away from all the other players, making sure the clock winds down. She has Maddie O'Reilly's hand in her face, just faces away from her, and there's the buzzer. It's going to be a UCLA 9, Michigan 5 final. Maddie Musselman and the Bruins proved a bit too much for the Wolverines to handle here. She is going to rock the college water polo world for quite some time. Only a sophomore. Both teams very young. But UCLA gets the better of Michigan for the second time this season. What are your thoughts on this game, Nate?
Well, Michigan just overall looked like a worse team than UCLA. I feel like UCLA really came out here and earned this victory. I don't think there's really any doubt about that. But no, it was a competitive game, more or less the entire, throughout. So still a lot of positives to take away from this if you're Michigan. They still have a whole nother day of competition to go here, so hopefully they can build up some confidence, get some good wins tomorrow, get ready for conference play, and that's really what's most important right now.
Michigan definitely showed that they can compete with UCLA, however, did not have the same outing that UCLA did. Very dominant performance from the Bruins. You see a lot of young Wolverine fans with drawings they made for the players. That's a great sight. I can read one that says, "Go Cameron" for Michigan's keeper today, Cameron Coriel. I see number 6 rocks with the drawing of the Australian flag and a water polo ball floating in the ocean. Very cute display from some younger fans. It's really been a great atmosphere. We hope in Michigan's 2 later tournaments they host this year, fans can bring the same type of environment. What a great location for a college water polo game day, we're going to call this broadcast that we have here, a premier water polo matchup today. Nonetheless, Michigan ends up losing by 4. Really a great display of water polo fans here today, and that's going to just about do it from us. Any final thoughts, Nate?
No, you're just right though about the crowd. It looks like this Michigan community here is 100% behind this water polo team, and they really should be. Dr. Leonardi's doing a great job with this program, and I'm looking forward to watching more of this Michigan water polo team for the years to come.
Indeed, as a Midwest school, it's a bit hard to compete with California in terms of recruiting, but Leonardi's really put together a competitive team, and maybe they can get a win against a program like UCLA sometime down the road this season, and that'll do it for us. We wish you, as always, a good day and a go blue.